Today we're taking a look at the Gardena Select Water Timer. This is a traditional tap timer from the Gardena range, offers 3 watering cycles per day, 7 days a week, and takes a 9-volt battery, which will give you about 6 to 9 months watering depending on the schedule you've chosen. This timer is also compatible with the Gardena soil moisture sensor, which we'll talk to you a little bit later and show you how to fit. Inside of the packaging, you'll get a number of different items here. First off, we have the operator's manual. This includes all your troubleshooting as well as your setup instructions, so it's worth having a read of that. You'll get the timer itself, and you'll get a number of accessories here. First off, we have a standard tap connector, which you can attach to the bottom threads of your timer, which are in 3/4 inch sizing. That'll just allow you to connect a traditional garden hose if you'd like to. And then we have a couple of reducers here. As standard, the timer has a 1-inch female connection on the top, but they provide you with a couple of reducers which will allow you to bring that down to a 3/4 inch or a 1/2 inch, depending on your needs. So now we're going to take a look at programming the timer. For ease, I have removed the back of the timer just for the moment. You can do that as well, it makes no difference when programming the timer. So the first thing we're going to set is the current time. Now you'll notice when you first put the battery in this timer, you'll get a flashing 00 in the top left hand corner. This is asking us to input the current hour of the day. To do that, we're going to use this little dial here. We're just going to twist it until we get to the correct hour. I'm just going to select 9 o'clock for now. And once I'm happy with that, you can confirm it by just pushing the dial down. You should see it moves on now to the minutes of the hour. We'll just say it's 9:30 for the moment. So I'm twisting the dial until I get to 30. If you go a little bit too far, you can twist the dial in the opposite direction to wind time down. But now I've found 30, I'm just going to confirm that by pressing the dial in. After I've confirmed the time, it's going to ask me to confirm the day of the week, and you'll see these listed along the bottom. Again, we're just using the dial to find the correct day for us. In this case, it's Tuesday, and we're going to confirm it by pushing the dial in. So the next step in programming your timer is to set the time you'd like the watering to begin. So same as before, we're using this dial just to navigate to the hour in which we want it to start. I'm going to select 10 in this particular case, and I'm going to confirm it by pushing in the dial. If I'd like to select a minutes, I can continue to do that. So we'll just select 10:30 as an example. So using the dial to navigate to 30, and again confirming with the dial. Once I've set a start time, it's going to ask me how long I'd like it to water for. So again, it's in minutes and hours. So first off, we're going to set an hour if we want it to. So in this case, I'll just select 1 hour, twisting the dial there and confirming with the dial button. And then it's going to ask me to select a number of minutes. Again, I'll select 30 just for ease. There we are. So I've got 1 hour, 30 minutes. Just going to confirm that with the dial. This is slightly different to the steps when we were setting the time, because now it's going to ask us to either include or exclude days we don't want to water. And how we do that is again with this dial. And you'll notice if you twist the dial, the letters at the bottom will either become highlighted or unhighlighted. If they're highlighted, that means it's going to water on that day. If they're unhighlighted, that means it's going to skip that day. Last step is just to confirm whether you want this program to be on or off. In most cases, you're going to want it to be on. So again, just confirming by pushing the dial in. Now that I've got program 1 installed, I can move on to program 2 and 3. To do that, you just twist the dial, and that will take you over to P2 at the top of the screen. The process is exactly the same as P1. by pushing in the dial to enter the programming mode and then following the same steps. I won't do that in this demonstration, but as I say, just go back to P1 and follow all the same steps. You can do that for P3 also. This timer will only allow you 3 run times, so once you've done P3, you're out of options. As mentioned earlier, this timer is also compatible with a soil moisture sensor, which will cancel your scheduled operation if it's already rained and hit the moisture limit. So how you fit your soil moisture sensor is you simply flip over this front portion, and you'll see we're back to where we installed the battery, and just under this little cover at the bottom here, you can remove that plug, and then you've got your port for your moisture sensor. So just push that in until it's all the way, and your timer is now set up to use the sensor. If at any point you've made a mistake in your scheduling, or if you're just having some issues and you feel like maybe something's not quite right, you can factory reset this timer by pushing in the Water Now button at the top and the dial button. Push and hold them both together. You should find that the screen resets. Let go, and it'll take you right back to step 1, and you can program the timer fresh. This timer also comes with a built-in Water Now feature, which will just let you top up off schedule should your plants need it. To activate that, you simply press this button at the top that has a little picture of a tap. That will activate the timer, and you should see on screen then it's asking you to select the number of minutes you'd like that to run for. So similar to before, we can operate this dial just to select a amount of time. We'll say 15 minutes as this example. And you can select that and confirm it by pushing in the dial. Now that will run for 15 minutes, and at the end of the 15 minutes, close the timer up again. If you want to cancel that timer, you can simply push the tap again. That'll just close it right off, and it'll go back to your regular schedule. So sometimes we get asked why the timer is leaking from the top of the unit where it joins the tap. It's a pretty common issue on all tap timers and nothing to worry about. Usually just means that the washer that's installed at the top of the timer is not making good contact with the bottom of the tap. Now the easiest way to fix that issue is to take another washer of the correct size and layer it on top of the one provided with the timer. That will just thicken up the washer itself, and means when you screw this onto the tap, contact happens a lot sooner. You can also coat the tap in PTFE tape or plumber's tape. That can sometimes work, but usually the washer technique is much better. Once winter rolls around, you'll want to make sure that you store your timer indoors, preferably within the house rather than a shed or garage, because they can still get very cold. And you'll want to make sure that you remove the battery. It just means that the battery is not going to leak in the timer and cause any corrosion. And by removing this off the tap, it means it's not going to be subjected to freezing, and therefore it's not going to crack the timer itself. Gardena do try to make this clear on the timer with their little anti-frost symbol at the top, but we always feel like it's best to mention it.